6:01.
There we go. YouTube's live now.
Jackson, we're ready to start the meeting.
Thank you very much. Well, with that, let's go ahead and call the May 20th, 2020 APC public hearing to order. I'd like to start off with a couple things. Number one, thank you very much to staff, County IT Department, petitioners, citizens, everybody that's been involved to make this possible. I know we would all like to see each other in person, but this is the best we can do for now. So until then, thank you to all for their efforts. That being said, I'd also like to remind everyone, this is our first time doing this. Please have some patience in this because we'll navigate through it, and I'm sure we will have some hiccups. We'll learn along the way together. A couple quick reminders. Please remember to mute your microphone until it is your time to speak. And commission members, if you would, please find the ballot email and have it ready for when it is time to vote. That email came in the same email that allowed you to get to this meeting, which was dated May 19th at 10:12 in the morning from Diana Trader. So please have that handy if you would, please. Without further ado, we'll turn it over to Zach for the roll call.
All right, thank you, Jackson. And as a reminder, commission members, you'll have to unmute yourself before you can respond. So I'm going to call the roster now. Jackson Bogan.
Present.
Dr. Carl Griffin.
I saw him log in.
Dr. Griffin. I see you in the chat room, Doc. I think you may be on mute.
Yeah, he's muted.
We'll come back to him. Larry Leverins.
Here.
Roland Winger.
Here.
Gary Schroeder.
Here.
Jerry Reynolds.
Here.
Greg Jones.
Here.
Jake Gray.
Here.
Diana Looper. Diana, are you here? Vicky Pearl.
Here.
Michelle Long.
Here.
Tom Murtaugh.
Here.
Carrie Brown.
Here.
Tracy Brown.
Here.
Lisa Dellum.
Here.
Kathy Parker.
Here.
Al Beavers. Al, I think you are still on mute. I saw you in here earlier.
He's on the phone.
Well, it looks like we may be having some audio issues, but Diana Looper is the only member not present. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, Sally, we'll go into the briefing session.
A couple things first. If we can't hear Carl, then perhaps Roland would be the seconder.
Happy to.
Thank you. So there are two changes to the agenda. The first is Z2783, Carr Family Farm LLC. They have asked for a continuance to the June 17th meeting, which will take an action. And then Z2790, Denise Stahl. That case has been withdrawn by the petitioner, and that takes no action on your part. And Kathy informs me that all the paperwork has been filed.
Excellent, thank you. Next item on the, well, we need to Gary, do you need to make a motion on that?
I do that later. I'll get that
Okay,
one
thank
later.
you. Thank you. We will move on to the approval of the minutes then.
I move to approve the minutes from the February 19th, 2020 meeting as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries. On to new business, comprehensive plan amendment resolution.
I move to hear and vote on Resolution 2020-03, Ellsworth Project, a resolution determining that an amendment to the consolidated Creasy Central Lafayette redevelopment plan conforms to the comprehensive plan for Tippecanoe County.
Second.
Ron, thank you. Sally?
Yes. We've had a number of these lately, which is a really great thing for our downtown. If you'll notice on the aerial photograph, that's the block that contains Regions Bank. They are willing to sell and have developed the east part of their lot. So what you're hearing tonight is part of the process of adding this Ellsworth project plan to the economic development plan for the Central Creasy TIF, which is shown here in pink. So this land area is part of the TIF area. And this is the proposed drawing that would show the building that would be part of this TIF area. So I'll keep this short because we've done this quite a bit lately, and let you know that staff's opinion is that the comprehensive plan land use element and the comprehensive plan housing element that this project is in compliance with those two elements, and staff recommends approval of the resolution to allow this to go forward.
Thank you, Sally. I'd also like to add to this that Dennis Carson did contact staff and let them know that he has nothing additional to add at this time. With that, do we have any questions from the commission members or comments? And now we will pause for 1 minute to allow time for citizens' comments. And Sally, if you'd let me know when we can move on from there.
I will.
Thank you.
One minute has passed.
Thank you very much. Ryan, have we had any citizen comments?
There are no public comments on this item.
Zach, we're ready for a vote.
All right, folks, I will now call the roll on resolution 2020-03. When I call your name, please say approve or deny, and remember to unmute yourselves. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Leverins. Larry, you may be on mute.
There we go. Approved, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds,
Approved.
Greg Jones,
Approved.
Jake Gray,
Approved.
Diana Luper, absent Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approved.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approved.
Perry Brown,
Approved.
Tracy Brown,
Approved.
Carl Griffin,
Approved.
Lisa Dellum,
Approved.
Kathy Parker,
Approved.
Al Beavers,
Approve.
Resolution 2020-03 is approved. 15 votes in favor, 0 votes against. Commission members, I believe now also as well, please complete your written ballots. And if you have any questions about those, Don can help you the best he can.
They're coming in fast.
Thank you, everybody.
Don, when you have those, we'll wait to hear from you.
I've got 12 so far.
Zach, once we have a quorum or a majority, do we need to wait any longer?
We can continue on if that is what everyone is comfortable with. Ideally, we would get all these done just so people aren't falling behind. But if we
Fair
have a
enough.
couple that are having technical issues,
Yeah, so far
now
I
it'd
have
probably be best
12
to sort those
approvals.
out now.
You can't press buttons, okay?
Oh, actually, I've got 14. Yep, it's updated to 14 approvals.
Okay. We will move on to the final detailed plans.
I move to hear and approve Resolution PD 2020-04, final detailed plans for Phase 1 of the Redwood Apartments Plan Development.
Second.
Ryan, up to you.
Okay, thank you. So this project in Lafayette was approved by APC by unanimous vote in June 23rd of 2017. Rezone classification from R3 and GB to PDRS, approximately 25-acre site. The approved preliminary plans allow for the construction of a multifamily complex containing 173 units total, spread out over 2 phases. This first phase that you're hearing tonight contains 116 of those units. City Council approved project July 1st, 2019. So we've had some months, but we finally got the project to where it needed to be. We're having some feedback issues here. All right, well, I'll press on. Anyway, the final detailed plans consist of construction plans and final plat for the Phase 1. All conditions are met at this time. Bonding is being requested. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I recommend approval of Resolution PD 2004.
Do you want to say anything about the slides?
We do have some slides I can show you here. This is on the south side of Lafayette. You can advance to the next one there,
I'm going backward.
if possible. Yeah, there's the 25-acre site. close-up. It's cleared right now in ag production. The first phase is the Twickenham frontage, primarily with the east and west sides as well. The back portion of the property is going to be phase 2. So this is going to be easily 3/4 of the project. Go to the next one. Nope, that's it. I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Would the petitioner like to say anything?
I'm Russell Brown. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Clark, Quinn, Moses, Scott, and Braun in Indianapolis. Don't have anything additional to add.
Thank you very much, sir. Any questions from the commission members? With that, we'll have a 1-minute pause to wait for citizen comments. Sally, if you'd let me know, please.
I will.
While we're waiting, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute and unmute your mic when you're speaking, or unmute when you're speaking, mute when you are not speaking. Because I'm hearing some feedback here right now.
One minute has passed.
Ryan, do you have any comments?
There are no comments on this item.
Zach, we are ready for a vote.
All right, when I call your name, please signify approve or deny on 2020-04. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Leverins.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approve.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper. Absent. Vicky Pearl.
Approve.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Perry Brown.
Approve.
Tracy Brown. Tracy, you may be on mute.
Approve.
Thank you. Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
And I just want to go back for a second. Thank you, everyone. Diana Looper, are you on the meeting now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I have been.
All right. And your vote was approved, correct?
Correct on both of them.
All right. So resolution 2020-04 passes 16 votes in favor, 0 votes against.
Thank you very much. We'll now take a minute where we have to complete the online ballot, which Don will tally and let us know when he has all the votes in. And while you're doing that, it does not appear as though I have the separate sheet for the meeting procedures. I am checking my inbox.
Jackson, I'm not sure we sent that again. If you still have the email from the exec committee, that may
That's
be
what I'm
the
looking
closest
for.
we have.
I just found it. We're good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
While we're waiting, I believe that all past presidents have memorized that script, so
Yes.
I'd like to remind those that don't need to speak to mute your mics.
Just to chime in on the ballots, we have 15 for approval. So far.
Thank you very much. And Roland, thank you for the comments. With that, I'll take a minute to read the procedures. For those of you unfamiliar with our procedures, the commission would like you to know the following. When we hear a request to subdivide land, we're only concerned as to whether the actual drawing showing the division into lots meets the technical requirements of our ordinance. The question of appropriateness has already been determined. Anyone wishing to make comments or provide us with information regarding any subdivision petitions will be given the opportunity to do so. We are a 7-member body and a majority of 7 is 4, regardless of, we are a 17-member body and the majority of 9, regardless of how many commissioners are actually present. At least 4 votes or at least 9 votes in favor or 9 votes against are required for our action to be official. If fewer than 9 of us agree to either approve or disapprove our action, that case must be heard again next month. Our vote on a request to subdivide is final. When addressing the commission, please state your name and address for the record. Please limit your statements no more than 5 minutes, and we ask that you not repeat what others before you have already said. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. If you need to make a call, please step out of the room. Pretty easy to do right now before using your phone. All exhibits presented to the commission become the property of the commission. Gary, if you would.
Okay. I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application be heard this evening and to become part of the evidence at such hearing, the unified zoning ordinance, the unified subdivision ordinance, the comprehensive plan, the bylaws of the area plan commission, the application and all documents filed therewith, the staff report and recommendations on the application to be heard this evening, and responses from checkpoint agencies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries.
I have the continuance if you're ready.
Yeah, please. Gary, if you would proceed with the continuance.
Okay, I move to continue Z 2783, Carr Family Farms LLC, I3 to the June 17th, 2020 Area Plan Commission meeting at petitioner's request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries. On to Part A, subdivisions.
I move to hear and vote on S 4905, Belterra subdivision revised, major preliminary.
Second.
Don, if you would, please.
Okay. This is Belterra subdivision revised. If you're not familiar with it, it's located on the north side of County Road 600 North and west side of County Road 75 East, which is just north of the Winding Creek subdivision. This property was rezoned some time ago, about 2 years ago, and we did hear and approve, conditionally approve Belterra once before for 77 lots. This revision will increase that by 2 lots, 79 lots. They have removed in their overall layout change a couple streets and simplified that. The slide that just popped up shows on the west side indicates what the petitioners are requesting a variance to our requirement to make connection to developable land nearby, in other words. The previous approval this variance was approved by both the county commissioners and the area plan commission 2 years ago on the original approval. But because they've proposed this revision, they have to go through that process again. The county commissioners have voted again on this revision to allow for not making that connection to the west. The one that was considered to the north is moot because we do have a subdivision approved to the north called the Preserve it was approved without making a street connection as well. They will be required to provide an emergency lane connection. And then the main reason for this is because both these developments only have a single entrance off of County Road 75 East. So with that being said, there's not a lot of difference between this design or this subdivision design and the previous one other than removing a couple interior streets and gaining a couple lots. So with that, staff does recommend conditional primary approval. You'll have to vote on that variance request first, and we do have a separate ballot for that. So that would be the first thing to use. And with the conditions for this proposed revision is essentially identical to the approval from 2 years ago.
Great, thank you, Don. Everyone, please hold off on voting for now until we hear from, does the petitioner or petitioner's representative want to make a presentation, or are there any documents to share through the GoToMeeting?
Yeah, we have no documents. Ryan Munden with Riling, Teeter, and Schreier here on behalf of the petitioner. Seeking conditional primary approval as well as approval of the variance, and we concur with staff's report and recommendation and will comply with all conditions. With respect to the variance, this is an EPCON community, which is designed for and will be marketed to individuals 55 and up. It's designed to be quiet, have minimal traffic. We believe any safety concerns are adequately addressed by the emergency access connection that's being required between Belterra and the Preserve. With respect to the difference between the original subdivision and this new redesigned subdivision, one change that Don did not mention is that originally it provided for 2 outlots. Now it will have 3 outlots and include a community building and clubhouse. So we respectfully request your approval, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Munden. Any questions from commission members?
Yeah, have to vote on it. It's part of the ballot.
I have a question. This is Lisa Dellum. Can you show where the emergency connection will be?
Tim, are you there? I believe the emergency connection will be partially on lots 10 and 11. Is that right, Tim?
I believe that's correct. Yes, you can see it's a little wider in those areas. That's correct.
It's about in the middle there, yeah.
You should see my cursor going
Yeah,
between 10 and
okay,
11.
that's what they're, okay. Okay. And the reason we're removing the connection is traffic concerns?
Well, the removal of the connection between the Preserve and Belterra is because the Preserve did not require a connection. So if a connection was required here, it would be connecting to nothing essentially. So the variance is not with respect to a north-south connection, but an east-west connection. And the purpose of that variance is to minimize traffic in this neighborhood, given the type of community that it is and who it's marketed towards.
But at some point that that land to the west, I believe it is, could be developed, right?
It's been part of the Anthrop family for years and years. I can't tell you the exact number of years, but essentially forever. Our understanding is that it's developable, but they have no plans to develop it. What they'd like to see is develop it into 4 or 5 lots for their family, build large homes on with lots of acres. So it wouldn't be a 100-lot subdivision to the west.
Okay. Thank you.
And Lisa, I'll just add that we supported it because, kind of like Ryan mentioned, the type of community that it is, in that it has its own clubhouse and that type of thing, in which, you know, you wouldn't want other neighborhoods coming through. And so that's why we could support it. I think the clubhouse includes a pool. Am I correct, Ryan?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions from any other commission members or comments? We will give a 1-minute pause for citizens' comments. Sally, if you'd let us know, please.
We will.
Hey, Don.
Yes.
On the form for the variance, I pulled it up and it just simply has for us to enter our name. It does not give a approval or denial for the variance.
Yeah, if you click
fill in your
next, it'll
name
take you
and
to the.
hit next?
Oh, thank you. I'm so smart.
We've passed 1 minute.
Okay, any comments, Ryan?
There are no comments on this item.
Thank you very much. We have our ballot. Don't forget to click next.
And I will call a roll first on the variance for S4905. So when I call your name on the variance, please say approve or deny. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Leverins.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Gary Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approve.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper. Diana, you may be on mute. I didn't hear you. All right, we'll come back to Diana. Vicky Pearl.
Approve.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Perry Brown. Perry Brown. Perry, I think you're on mute. All right, couldn't hear you. Sorry. Thank you. Tracy Brown.
Approve.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dullum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
The variance passes. And we will now move on to the approval of the actual subdivision. And as I call your name, I'm going to ask that you signify your vote with conditionally approved, which is what staff is recommending, approve or deny. Jackson Bogan,
Conditional approval.
Larry Leverins,
Conditional approval.
Roland Winger,
Conditional approval.
Gary Schroeder,
Conditional approval.
Jerry Reynolds,
Conditional approval.
Greg Jones,
Conditional approval.
Jake Gray,
Conditional approval.
Diana Looper, Vicky Pearl,
Conditional approval.
Michelle Long,
Conditional approval.
Tom Murtaugh,
Conditional approval.
Harry Brown,
Conditional approval.
Tracy Brown,
Conditional approval.
Carl Griffin,
Conditional approval.
Lisa Dellum,
Conditional approval.
Kathy Parker,
Conditional approval.
Al Beavers.
Conditional approval.
And that is granted 16-0. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Don, will you let us know when you've received all of the ballots, including bonding, et cetera?
Okay.
Point of order that this request does also request bonding, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Things sporadic. The best I can say right now is I have 15 responses for the variance for approval, and for the subdivision, I have 12 responses, all for approval, and also all to permit bonding.
Excellent. Thank you very much. On to S4908.
I move to hear and vote on S4908 KKLM Place Subdivision Minor Sketch.
Second.
Kathy?
Okay, petitioner's property is located on the west side of County Line Road East. It's about half a mile north of State Road 26. It is zoned agricultural, as is all surrounding property The property across the road, of course, is Clinton County. This is pretty simple. It's just a one lot. It's coming out of a 17-acre parent tract. So this is the one lot they're creating. It's about 1.8 acres and has an existing house. So petitioner plans to build a house on the 15-acre remainder. You can see there's a county tile that goes through the 15-acre tract that is shown on the sketch plan. There's also a tile that runs east heading towards Clinton County, and that is also shown on the sketch plan. We have approval from the county surveyor. There are 4 conditions of approval, all of them standard. We are recommending conditional primary approval.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Petitioner, do you have anything to share or any comments to make?
This is Carl Rhodes with Deckard Engineering Surveying. On behalf of Hank and Jane Nichols, we are, as Kathy alluded there, we are just looking for a one-lot minor sub to remove or to create a lot around the existing home site to allow for a new building on the remainder of the parcel. Besides that, there's not a whole lot that I'm going to add. Just we're kindly request conditional approval on this minor subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, do we have any questions from commission members? We'll go to our 1-minute pause. Let us know, Sally.
I will. One minute has passed.
Thank you, Sally. Ryan, have we had any additional comments or any comments for that matter?
Nope, no comments on this item.
We have not. Zach, all you.
Just like last time, staff and petitioner are recommending conditional approval on this. So when I call your name, please say conditional approve, approve, or deny. Jackson Bogan.
Conditional approval.
Larry Leverance.
Conditional approval.
Roland Winger.
Conditional approval.
Gary Schroeder.
Conditional approval. Sorry about that.
Jerry Reynolds. And Jerry, I'm sorry, I was having a little trouble hearing you.
Conditional approval.
Thank you. Greg Jones.
Conditional approval.
Jake Gray.
Conditional approval.
Diana Looper. Absent Vicky Pearl.
Conditional approval.
Michelle Long.
Conditional approval.
Tom Murtaugh.
Conditional approval.
Barry Brown.
Conditional approval.
Tracy Brown.
Conditional approval.
Carl Griffin.
Conditional approval.
Lisa Dullum.
Conditional approval.
Kathy Parker.
Conditional approval.
Al Beavers.
Conditional approval.
And that passes 16-0.
Thank you. And Don, please take a moment to complete the ballots that are in that email. And Don, let us know when you've received them, please.
I will. Well, we gained one from last time. We'd have 16 responses, all for conditional approval.
Thank you very much, Don. Moving on to rezoning activities, Z2784, Gary.
I move to hear and approve Z 2784, Thomas C. and Susan L. Reilly, R2U to MBU.
Second.
Kathy?
Okay. Petitioner's property is located on the east side of North 13th Street. It is currently zoned R2U, as is all the adjoining properties except to the north across the alley, which is zoned NBU. It's a narrow property, 22 feet wide, by 100 feet deep. It's currently got a single-family house. Petitioners plan to add a commercial kitchen to the first floor of the single-family home and retain an apartment on the second floor. The kitchen would be used to prepare food that is catered off-site on food trucks. Parking required for the proposed use will be accommodated off-site with an off-site parking agreement as approved by the AO. No buffer yard would be needed if this were rezoned. So this property is sort of at the confluence of two neighborhood plans. The Union Salem Corridor Plan, which is just to the north, and then the historic Jeff Neighborhood Plan, which is, I guess, Union Street's at the top, and then it goes down to Ferry. Both of these plans want to keep the commercial properties sort of where they're at, with the alley being the boundary between commercial to the north and residential to the south. So supporting the plan, staff is recommending against this rezone filing.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative want to make a presentation?
Hello, everybody. My name's Tom Reilly. Can you hear me?
Hello, Tom.
Yes.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for taking the time for us today. I wanted to say a couple of things about what our plan is, and I'm hoping that we can come to a positive agreement. We've been at this business for a couple of years now, and we took over, it used to be an old mom's place. It's called Reilly's Neighborhood Bar now, and grill. And we're a big part of this neighborhood. I'm a North Ender. I've been around these areas for a long time, and we're hoping that we can, all we're putting in there is a commercial kitchen to allow us to do some catering in our mobile food business. The kitchen at the bar is fine for the 80 seats we have and seats there, but it's not going to be enough for us to do all three. I've been a North Ender all my life, was born and raised and still live in the North End. And there's a lot of negative in this part of the neighborhood, this old Jeff neighborhood. It's one of the oldest ones in town. And if you go down those streets, you're going to see some dilapidated rental properties that really need some work. we're proposing to bring in some positive business influences into this area to make it a little bit nicer. I like the area, and you know, one thing that's funny is you come from the west side, which was so great because the university's done a great job, and people headed back home to the interstate are going to go right by our neighborhood, and we want them to see some positive things in Lafayette, and there are a lot of positive things, but this neighborhood needs help, and we want to invest some time and energy and help us to be more positive. I'm hoping that you can to see the next level that we want to bring into this. Purely, there's going to be nothing sold out of this business. It's purely just for preparing food that we take to businesses and catering events. So we're hoping that we can change your mind and kind of see the future, especially for this neighborhood that really needs some help.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Jackson, I believe Mr. Oakes is trying to speak, but I'm not picking up any audio. I see him making some hand signals, and I think he was trying to convey something to us. But Tyler, we can't, at least I couldn't hear you.
Tyler, we still can't hear you. Tyler, we do have a dial-in number, I believe. Yep. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Now we can. Yep.
Perfect. Hi, Tyler Oakes. Apologies for, I don't know why the speaker doesn't want to let me in. Tyler Oakes, Paul Eggleston. I'm with representing Tom and Susan Reilly. Tom did a really good job explaining everything. I just wanted to hit a couple other points real briefly. Like you said, this is very good for the city of Lafayette and the surrounding area. I know in the staff's report, they mentioned there was concern about a snowball effect. There's an adjoining property. I think it's very easy to make sure no legal precedent is really set in terms of if you want to continue to move south with commercial development and you have an adjoining property, then it's okay. But anybody else who just wants to pick a property to try and develop that to move south, it's very easy to shut that down so you don't have this problem going forward. I know the city of Lafayette has also looked at this neighborhood going forward and has conducted studies. Some of them spoke with Tom today about what they're looking for going forward. They were all in favor of this. They think it'll be great for the city. And this, like Tom said, this is really going to help a neighborhood that's struggling to help itself. And I think it would be really good going forward. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tyler. Hold on the line in case anybody has any questions for you, if you would, please. Any questions from the commission members?
Has anyone spoken to
Jerry Reynolds here? Jerry Reynolds.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Yes, you said that the city of Lafayette has give you backing on this. I haven't heard anything as a city council member.
Tyler, we cannot hear you.
I'm on my phone. Is it working?
There you are. Yep.
All right. I should clarify, the city of Lafayette has not come out and given full backing. It is more so that conducting this study and speaking with them, they're in the preliminary talks. They're having, I think, an official meeting regarding the businesses. They were just telling Tom in his meeting today that they're in favor of this going forward. And so it's not, I should have clarified, it's not an official approval, so to speak, from Lafayette. informal, but I would expect it to be formal going forward.
I guess my question is with the construction of some of the new streets and intersections and in that area, I'm not too sure, I'm not too sure this is at the present time that this is the answer. That's why I'm asking you what kind of response you got from the city, because I've got nothing back that said yes or no, but I'm wondering.
Yeah, and to clarify as well, this food truck business is already going on. So even with the streets being developed around there, they're still running this business. They're just have gotten to the point where they have enough demand. They're trying to expand, and they need the commercial kitchen to do so. So that's where. So either way, they're still going to continue the business. It just helps them grow.
Tyler, what is their capacity as this business grows potentially to have trucks loaded, and where are they loaded currently?
Tom is going to be more suited to answer this than I am, but from my understanding, they are currently loaded at the bar and grill in the lot, which is the lot just to the north. You can actually see on the map listed, you can see 2 trucks right there. So the trucks are loaded and leave from the lot where the bar is currently.
So they're not loading on the public roads?
Correct. They load right now. They load in, and that's part of the reason they're seeking out this property, because they wouldn't have to go on public roads. You could still use the trucks that are in that parking lot. This just helps for a commercial kitchen, so they're able to match the demand that they're having for the output.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
No, I just have one more comment. I have an issue with what's going on with the street construction and et cetera, and I'm not too sure. I understand what he's wanting to do, and I have no problem with that. That lot is so narrow, and I think it's kind of right in the middle of what's happening. And so anyway, that's just my opinion. So thank you.
Jerry, this is Carl. Can you expand a little bit about what, I mean, not that there's anything set in stone, but what is the discussion about what could be happening with the streets in the area, please?
Well, Sally, can you add to that? Because isn't that part of expansion of those intersections coming off of 14th and around that area? Am I correct or not correct?
I guess I'm not aware of anything that's going on either in a neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm not saying there is, and like I said, I like the project, I like what's going. I just had a few questions about, the traffic in the area and et cetera. And he said he's already loading off the street, so that's not an issue. I just had a few questions, and I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Perry.
Yes. I guess have anybody talked to a historic Jeff Neighborhood Association yet?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Has anyone spoken to the historic Jeff Neighborhood Association yet about this?
I personally have not spoken to them. I've been working with Joe Bumbleberg on the project, and he very may well have, and Tom really also may have, but I personally have not spoken with them.
Well, I guess the point I wanted to make about this is I don't think they would have a problem with it, even though they are getting ready to. I guess that they were like 3rd or 4th in line to do another neighborhood plan. I don't think they would have a problem with this, since it's an established neighborhood business, and they're only going to be walking across the alley. This is not going to have an effect on traffic. I would appreciate your support on this. Thank you so much.
Any other comments or questions?
Hello, I have one comment, please. Hi, this is Tom Reilly again. Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you. I did speak with Margie from the office
Redevelopment.
today. Yes, the city. And after speaking with her, we'll have a meeting tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. And I was telling her that we have the meeting tonight. Dennis Carson, at his office, he's going to be in on the meeting, and she's with that group as well. And she was very much for what we were trying to accomplish in that neighborhood. We're having a meeting to talk about what the businesses are doing in that Jefferson neighborhood, and they're very supportive of what we want to do. And they're very supportive about just bringing more positive things and influences to that neighborhood.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the commission members, excuse me? With that, we will wait for 1 minute for citizens' comments. Sally, if you'd let me know, please.
It's been 1 minute.
Thank you, Sally. Ryan, any comments?
No, there are no comments on this item.
Thank you very much. No letters or anything as well?
Correct.
Thank you. Zach?
When I call your name, please signify your vote by saying approve or deny for Z 2784. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Leverins.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approve.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper. Absent Vicky Pearl.
Approved.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Perry Brown.
Approved.
Tracy Brown.
Approve.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
That passes 16 votes in favor, no votes against.
Thank you very much. Don, at this time.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Tyler. At this time, please remember, commission members, to complete the ballot in the email. And Don, will you please let us know when those have been tallied?
Will do. Well, I can say We do have 15 responses and all for approval.
Thank you very much. 1 down, 8 to go. Gary?
I move to hear and approve Z 2786, Heron Bay Development LLC, Greg Malacca, Stonehenge PD Phase 4, R1 and PDRS to PDRS.
Approve. Second.
Ryan?
Okay. So this is the final phase of the plan development portion of the Stonehenge project. There's sort of two aspects to it, a plan development side and then a conventional zoning side, and both have been implemented and under construction kind of in tandem. So this particular one calls for 107 single-family detached home lots and 6 outlots on a private street network, consistent with the previous PD rezones connected with the previous phases of this plan development. The notable things with this project, there are 5 off-street parking areas that are located throughout the Phase 4 portion. This is because with the private streets that are being extended into this from the original part of the plan development, they're narrow enough that on-street parking just isn't practical. So this was our solution to accommodate visitors, et cetera. And so those have been located around that area. Also, the trail network that currently exists in the plan development portion, that's fairly extensive, is also being pulled into the Phase 4 site to essentially create a large loop. And so this Phase 4 portion will sort of complete that loop that was sort of originally envisioned with this project. Staff's opinion that this 4th phase sort of combines the best aspects of the previous PD petitions connected with the previous phases, while still maintaining a high-quality architectural aesthetic and commitment to good public landscaping and amenities, including a pond feature in the Phase 4 area that is purely decorative. It is not even for stormwater purposes. So these sorts of treatments sort of set this particular project apart from your average subdivision. So staff is pleased with the final result, and we are recommending approval of Z 2786. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
And that approval is conditional with the 8 conditions on the staff report.
Thank you for that clarification, Ryan. Petitioner?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Feeling.
Good evening, everybody. Dan Teeter, attorney with Riley, Teeter and Schreier, represent the petitioner. Greg Malacas is the developer on this project. Pat Cunningham's the engineer for the project, and they are available to answer any comments or questions that you might have. Staff's indicated we're requesting rezone to PDRS for this project. This completes the remaining plan development phase from the north. The lots in this phase are going to be larger than the lots in the PD to the north. Generally, they're 67 feet wide by 115 to 125 feet deep. Our product is going to be 55 foot wide and 60 foot deep. The depth will change depending upon the amenities that that homeowner may want. So if they want a patio or a 4-season room, something of that nature, that would increase the depth of it. As staff's indicated, there's many amenities with this, such as the walking trail that encompasses the entire project. We have, again, the large pond in the middle with a walking trail around it, and obviously many lots surround that pond as well. We also have many of the southern lots that border the golf course, so additional amenity there. The landscape plan, I think, is exceptional, and staff has reiterated that in their staff report as well. So I think there's a lot of kudos there to the developer on this project. So in addition to the ponds, the walking trails, the landscaping, the common area, parking sites, there's an existing clubhouse, pool, soccer field, volleyball court, and horseshoe area for this development. So a lot of amenities. We also have a homeowners association. Fees are $140 a month. That will include mowing of grass, snow removal for streets and sidewalks, also taking care of the wood on any of the houses, and also cleaning the gutters. With that, we concur with staff's report, staff's recommendation, and we would ask for your favorable recommendation to take this to the Tippecanoe County Commissioners. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teeter. Any questions or comments from the commission? We will give 1 minute pause. Sally, if you'd let us know, this is for the citizens' comments.
All right.
Thanks. It's fine. I don't know if I want to do that.
There you go. You good now?
Okay.
One minute is up.
Thank you, Sally. Any comments, Ryan?
There are no comments on this item.
Thank you. Zach, if you will.
When I call your name, please signify your vote with approve or deny. Jackson Bogan.
Real quick, Zach, for clarification, is this conditional approval?
This is just a recommendation on the rezone with the conditions. So this will either be an approve or deny, and it will go forward to the commissioners.
Thank you for the clarification. Approve?
Certainly. All right. Larry Leverins.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds.
Approve.
Greg Jones.
Approve.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper. Absent Vicky Pearl.
Approved.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Terry Brown.
Approve.
Tracy Brown.
Approve.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dullum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
So that will go forward with a 16-0 vote in favor to the commissioners. And I forgot to call this out last time. Does anybody know when the city council, the next city council meeting will be where we might take this up? 2784, the previous one.
Excuse me? We need to request the right to bond. This is Pat Cunningham.
Thank you, Pat.
Not for the PD, you don't. Not at this stage.
All right. Thank you.
So the
So I
county
think we're good there.
commissioners meeting would be Monday, June 1st at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you, Sally. And do we know about the next city council meeting, unless I'm misremembering what the previous?
Both city councils also meet on the first Monday, which is June 1st, but one's at 6 and one's at 6:30, I believe. Is that right?
Okay.
I think Lafayette's 6:30, Sally.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're changing our meeting to 6, but I'm not too sure what day it starts.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have a 16-0. At this point in time, we now need to go to our emails, which contain the ballot for Heron Bay Development V2786. If you would complete that, and Don, if you would let us know when you have received them.
Will do.
Yeah. No, because I've got the next one. So. Yeah, that's your solid. Okay, all right, thanks.
At this time, if I can remind those not speaking to mute their mics, please. A lot of background noise.
Well, at this time, I can report that we have 15 responses, all for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to Z2788. Gary?
I move to hear and approve Z2788 Antique Candle Works Incorporated, GB to I2.
Second.
Kathy?
Petitioner's property is located on the southeast corner of Schuyler and North 16th Street. Property is zoned general business, as is all surrounding property, except to the south, which is zoned R3. There's a couple of I3 zones in the area. To the northwest, there's some industrial zoning near the railroad tracks, and then there's I3 zoning to the northeast. Let's see. Adjacent to the east is Star Lanes Bowling Alley. I think it's still Star Lanes. And to the west is a used car lot across 16th Street. The R3 zone property to the south is Northfield Commons, a duplex development. If this rezone is approved, a buffer yard would be required on the south property line as well as the east property line. This use is permitted by right in the GB zone, and I guess I should mention the use. Petitioner will locate their candle manufacturing business at this property if it's rezoned. So candle manufacturing is actually permitted by right in the GB zone, but only if the ground floor area is less than 5,000 square feet. It may be increased to 10,000 square feet if a retail element is included, but petitioner sells the product online only. If the use is located in industrial zone, there's no limitation on the gross floor area. Excuse me. So this property is part of the St. Lawrence McAllister neighborhood. One of its goals was to preserve the commercial area lining Schuyler Avenue. They didn't want to see any commercial intrusion into the residential areas. So staff doesn't mind this rezone so much. It's just we would prefer I1 zoning over the I2. I1 would allow this use, but with no outside storage of materials and with no outdoor loading facilities. So because there's residences next door to the south, we feel like I-1 zoning would be preferable. So we would recommend approval of I-1, but we are recommending denial of I-2.
Kathy, one thing before, for clarification, what is the major difference? No loading in I-3?
The major difference between I-1 and I-2 is I-2 allows loading outside. I-1, the loading would be all either indoors or next to a loading dock with a truck flush with the wall. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so. Are there, in I-2 versus I-1, does it intensify the use? Does it allow other types of operations to operate that I-1 would not?
Generally speaking, yes. I-1 is our lightest industrial. I-2 is sort of medium. I-3 is our heaviest industrial district.
And does the property currently have a loading dock?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But they can use the loading dock in I-1. They just can't load outside of the loading dock, correct?
Correct.
What was the outside storage? You said that I-3 they could have outside storage,
Correct.
or okay.
Can they ask for a variance in the existing zone or no?
No, I believe that would be a use variance.
Okay. With that, I'll go ahead and call the petitioner and ask if they would like to make a presentation or petitioner's representative.
Yes, this is Dan Teeter. Can you hear me again?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Kathy, but I do have a clarification there for staff. My showing of the footnotes for I-2 says that everything's inside except for outdoor loading operations only. It doesn't talk about anything else being allowed outdoors. No outside storage. It's just outside loading. So with that, I'll start again. Dan Teeter, represent the petitioner. Brittany Whiteneck is available, and she's one of the owners of the business. As staff's indicated, we want to request to rezone to I-2. The property, as you see, is surrounded by GB. We're a block away from I-3 as well. This is a 1.1 acre tract of ground. It supports the existing 16,000 square foot building. It has sufficient parking to handle that building. I think 17 is required. I think we have more than 17 spaces that would be available. And we also do have a loading dock on the south side of the property. The reason for the I-2 versus the I-1 is this loading dock is not flush with the parking lot. It's raised. It's got a concrete platform, I guess you would call it, where if you back a truck up, you'd go to the platform and then you would go inside, or you would use the side where it has a ramp where you could take the items up as well. So we believe that on occasion we would be in violation of the requirements of I-1 because there's no way that we can be flush with the building. We're going to be 5 feet away or 10 feet away because of that platform. And on occasion, I'm sure she's going to have trucks that sit in that lot and use that ramp as well. So we believe that that gives us the flexibility to do that. And we believe that that's the only difference between the I-1 and the I-2. Other than that, all manufacturing, construction, contracting, warehousing, and wholesale uses must be conducted indoors, which we intend to do. I also want to say, for the record, I'm extremely proud of my client. She started this candle business from scratch, and in the last 7 years has grown it to having now 31 employees. She does everything online, but they do sell to about 350 stores in the United States and Canada. So she's done a terrific job with this business. The city of Lafayette also thinks she's done a very terrific job with it and totally supports our request. They've also given her a tax abatement for the $1.1 million improvement she's going to make on this site. So with that, we would respectfully request that you give a favorable recommendation to the I-2 zone that we can take this before the Lafayette City Council. And with that, we'd be happy to answer any comments or questions that you'd have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teeter. Are there any questions from the commission members?
I'm just curious, how long is the building currently been vacant for a while, Dan?
Yes, I can't tell you. I think there was a lumber yard at one time, but the bones of this building are beautiful. I don't know what it was originally, but if she's got an architect hired and they're planning on spending over $1 million. I think it's going to be quite a wonderful addition to the area when it's done.
Any other questions or comments from commission members?
Yes, Corey Brown speaking. I would like to, to reiterate that this is going to be a fantastic addition to the North End. We are wholeheartedly in favor of it, both the city and both the people in the neighborhood. We would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Perry. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, there will be a 1-minute pause for citizens' comments. Sally, go ahead and start the timer, please, and let me know.
Okay. Time's up.
Thank you, Sally. Ryan, any comments?
No comments on this item.
Thank you very much. Zach, when you're ready.
When I call your name, please signify your vote by saying approve or deny. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Barry Leverance.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Gary Reynolds.
Approve.
Greg Jones.
Approve.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper. Absent. Vicky Pearl.
Approved.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Perry Brown.
Approve.
Tracy Brown.
Approve.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
And that receives a favorable recommendation 16-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Reminder at this time, please go to your email for the ballot. And this is item number Z2788 Antique Candleworks. Don, would you please let us know when the ballots have been received?
Will do. At this time, I can report that we have 15 responses, and they're all for approval.
Thank you very much, Don. Gary, moving on to Z 2789.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2789, Spring Valley Management LLC, R2U and R3U to R3U.
Second.
Ryan?
All right. So the purpose of this petition is to legitimize an existing 4-unit apartment building and in order to renovate the structure. Property is located on the east side of South 8th Street in the Ellsworth Romig historic neighborhood. The property, or the building itself, is originally was built as a duplex, but over the years had been converted at some point, and at one point when the ordinance kicked in against it, then it fell into this grandfathered status. The Ellsworth Romig neighborhood does have a neighborhood plan, and the staff comments has several quotes from that plan, which of course leads to our recommendation. In this particular stretch of the neighborhood, the plan recommends residential moderate density, and that land use category is defined in the plan as being typified by single-family and two-family housing. Furthermore, the plan recommends any new multifamily housing be tightly focused on the 100 block of South 3rd, this is a quote, and the 100, 200, and 300 blocks of South 4th, so not along this street. And that multifamily that they were referring to should have the character of being above the ground floor so as to allow commercial activity on the ground floor. So the neighborhood plan is very specific about what it's recommending as a land use future, street by street primarily. It's a very detailed plan. So if this rezone, obviously the purpose of the rezone is to legitimize an existing grandfathered use, but there's no guarantees that the structure itself would not be raised one day, and a more intense multifamily use that loses the historic character of the current existing building would be allowed. So the main goal, one of the principal goals of the plan, and I quoted here, Goal 1, Objective A, is to maintain the character of the neighborhood, citing the historic character of the buildings, the homes that were built, workers' cottages from the 1900s and 1920, bungalows, that these are the sorts of buildings that the plan would recommend be repurposed, rehabilitated, reused. But while this rezone would try to attempt to do that, there are no guarantees given a blanket rezone to an R3U district that something could not be put in that might offend the objectives of the neighborhood plan. So because of these policy points in the plan, staff cannot support the rezone petition, and we are recommending denial. Be happy to answer any questions.
Petitioner, would you like to comment on this? And do you have anything to share with the group?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bogan. Chris Hellman of Goodwine Law, 250 Main Street, here on behalf of the petitioner. Sally and Ryan, I'd like to share my screen if possible.
We're working on it, Chris.
Not a problem. Well, that's going on. Spring Valley Management, I'm here on behalf of Spring Valley Management and its principal, John Carone, who's a local developer who has quietly made a significant impact on our downtown community, and particularly has a knack for preserving, and important for this case, rehabbing historic and outdated structures. At its request, excuse me, sorry, I think I can share now. At its request, or at its core, this request is quite modest. If you look at the area planning, the current zoning, you'll see that the property is surrounded on two sides by R3U zoning. The petitioner would like to go to the R3U zoning, as Ryan stated, to rehabilitate the existing 4-unit historic building that petitioner recently acquired. The building itself is structurally sound, but needs to be redone to have any viable, desirable future. In order to achieve this goal, petitioner would like to legitimize it and be able to go forward with their remodel. The big thing to note is the parcel to the south is also owned by petitioner, but that's not being requested to be rezoned in this request. That's sort of the line of demarcation between the larger multifamily housing that is located on the north end of this South 8th Street block, and the, as Ryan pointed out, the more duplex and single family homes that you can find to the south. Up on the north side, you'll find significantly much larger multifamily projects like this current structure. As we go on, we'll look at, this is the view from Columbia, or from South Street, looking to the south. You'll find 2 large multifamily complexes, and in the back is the actual structure that we're looking to rehab. As we go to the west, you'll find the Loffer apartments that Riders recently rehabbed. One note on the previous slide is that the petitioner was also involved in both of those projects and has recently renovated those as well. As you continue down South 8, you'll see the Loffer project, and that's continually large multifamily housing. All of those are at least 4 units, similar to our project. As you can forth, this is the project that is immediately to the west of the rezone at issue. It's a large 4-unit complex, comparable to what we hope our project will be across the street. As you make the turn and look back towards the north, you'll see the back of the 2 projects that were recently redone and our existing structure kind of off in the corner there. This is how the building currently sits. It's an interesting old structure. Whether it was originally a duplex or had 4 units, we don't know. It's been 4 units for, we think, at least the last 30 years. We would like to put a significant amount of money and bring this structure back to life. The staff report noted the biggest concern is on a hypothetical, redevelopment. What we're presenting you with is a current project that is likely to get done. But one thing I would like to address about the staff's concerns with this potential redevelopment, it's important to note that this site, as we go up, is actually broken into 2 lots that have separate ownership. So the 2 lots themselves are quite small. The one that has the actual structure on it is only 3,200 square feet. Pursuant to the R3U zone for the minimum lot area, you could only build 1 unit on that lot by right. Anything else would need to either be rezoned or have a different variance or potentially a PD project. Even if the 2 lots were combined, you could only get 3 units, as it would be only about 6,500 square feet total. So it's very unlikely that something would ever happen, and if it were to be rebuilt, it wouldn't look anything like a large-scale multifamily housing without going before this board or another. The final thing that I'd like to point is that this would ever be raised is very unlikely. The current developer has won awards for some of the rehabs in the project, and here are a couple other local projects. He rehabbed the building on the corner of 9th and Columbia Street. He also rehabbed the 2 buildings just to the west of that, 811 Columbia Street and 807. There's a lot of attention to detail, there's a lot of time and effort, and he really does intend to preserve the local historic charm. He's made a significant investment in this community already, whether that be in these historic projects or newer ones like Town Quarters Behind or the new Pullman Station, and looks forward to continuing that investment in this project and rounding out the historic multifamily homes there on South 8th Street. We'd be happy to answer any questions and respectfully request a recommendation of approval.
Mr. Shellman, thank you very much. Staff, well done transferring it so he can share his screen. Chris, well done. That went seamless. On this, do we have any questions from our commission members? None at all. One question for staff from me. So as the building sits today and it has 4 units in it and it has had 4 units in it for 30 years or so, if we do not approve this, then will the building simply have to deteriorate to a further point because they are not able to repair it? Or is there another zone that we could give them
No,
that
it
would
can
allow
be-
4 units?
It does have, because of its grandfathered status, it can, maintenance, repairs, and so forth can be accomplished without offending zoning.
Okay.
Mr. Bogan, I would like to point out that we won't be able to update the electrical and separately meter the units pursuant to the city. And so this request initiated based on a request by the city engineer's office.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions?
Jackson,
So it says
Gary.
it's-
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, I'll go ahead. It just looks like a project that kind of blends in with some other multifamily in the area. And even though it does not abide by the letter of the neighborhood plan, I think it's always good when somebody wants to rehab a building like this, opposed to just letting it continue in its current use. So I would be in favor of it.
Thank you, Gary. Paige, did you have a comment?
I was just clarifying, it says it's it says it's R2U and R3U, so obviously the property's split, so is the parking lot in the R3U?
No, it's only a sliver on the north side. But we didn't want to leave a gap.
No, yeah, I'm just trying, okay.
With no further questions, we will take 1 minute. Sally, if you'd start the clock and then let me know, please, for citizens' comments.
I will, thank you. Time is up.
Thank you. Ryan, have we heard any citizens' comments?
No comments on this item.
And no letters. With that, Zach, if you would, please.
When I call your name, please state approve or deny. Jackson Bogan,
Approve.
Larry Leverance,
Approve.
Roland Winger,
Approve.
Gary Schroeder,
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds,
Approved.
Greg Jones,
Approved.
Jack Gray,
Approved.
Diana Looper, absent Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approved.
Harry Brown,
Approved.
Tracy Brown,
Approved.
Carl Griffin,
Approved.
Lisa Dullum,
Approved.
Kathy Parker,
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approved.
That is a 16 vote in favor of a favorable recommendation, 0 votes against.
Thank you, Zach. At this time, reminder, commission members, please go to your email and complete the ballot for Z2789 Spring Valley Management LLC. Don, when those have been received and tallied, please let me know.
Will do.
one point of order, Sally. I know you want me to, I know you don't like emails, but I want to give you my materials that I presented for your records.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Is the email fine?
Email's fine.
Thank you.
Great point, Mr. Shellman. Thank you.
At this time, I can report that we have 15 responses, all for approval.
Thank you very much, Don. We will move to Z2791, Habitat for Humanity.
I move to hear and approve Z 2791, Habitat for Humanity of Lafayette Incorporated, PDRS to R1B.
Second.
Don?
Yeah, this is kind of an unusual rezone, going from PDRS to a non-PD zone, but the purpose of it is to be able to achieve a replatting that would not necessarily be allowed under the original plan development plans. These two lots are kind of a remnant, as are 6 lots to the south of the original Crosser Commons plan development from a number of years ago. There is an existing house on one of the lots, but that is intended to be removed. But you can see on the aerial here what has replaced the original Crosser Commons plan is now the Crosser Sports Complex. The parking lot is directly east of these two lots, as are also behind the other lots to the south. They're part of the original PDRS plan development plat. So the purpose is to go to a zone that would allow them to actually submit a replatting of these lots, and that's the intent, to R1B lot size lots, which is essentially exactly what we have to the south. The one difference is that it looks like obviously that this could cover more than 2 lots, but the intent is to plat an outlot at the north end that would be about 40 feet wide and deed that to the park. So with that, staff has no objection to this and recommends approval.
Thank you very much for that, Don.
Thank you, Don. Yes, Dan Teeter again, represent the petitioner. As staff's indicated, we want an R1B rezone on this. R1B allows for 50-foot wide lots. Habitat's going to build a product that's similar to what they build on the R1B, just a block to the north west of this site. That was a 7-lot subdivision. As staff states, if the rezone is successful, we're going to raise the existing building, and then we would replat so that we would end up with 2 50-foot wide lots, an additional 40 feet of an outlot, which we would deed to the Lafayette Parks. So it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody wants it. Staff concurs. So we concur with staff's report, staff's recommendation, and ask for your favorable recommendation to go before Lafayette City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teeter. Do we have any questions from the commission? With that, we'll take a 1-minute pause. Sally, if you'd start the timer, this is for citizens' comments.
Will do.
While we are waiting on this, Roland made a good point. I believe that don't we need a continuance for the car rezone?
I think Gary did it at the beginning.
It's in the script.
I don't.
It's in the script, so we think it was done.
I didn't think it was voted on, but.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Gary called it out.
It was not a roll call vote, it was a voice vote. And that's okay,
Yes, I did.
according to Zach. at the top of page 4.
But I don't think we voted on it, Sally.
You did, it was a voice vote.
It was? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we're past time.
Thank you. Any comments, Ryan?
We have one letter, but no online comments.
Would you please read the letter?
Yes. It's from Mr. Kyle Swaby. It reads, I am a resident of Lafayette, Indiana. We live on Walker Court, which is a small part of a neighborhood on the west side. Since we moved to this neighborhood in 2014, Habitat for Humanity has built 10 new houses and are going to build 4 to 5 more. These houses are crammed into small lots. Habitat has never come to us or any of the residents of our neighborhood to talk about their plans or introduce themselves. Our streets are small and narrow, and this added traffic is going to be dangerous for our children. The new houses will have sidewalks in front of them, but the rest of the neighborhood does not. Powder House Lane is the only entrance to our neighborhood, and there are cars parked on both sides, many from the Habitat houses. Only one car can fit through at a time. Putting more houses on this road would make getting in and out impossible. Please, no more Habitat houses in our neighborhood. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Any questions, comments from the commission?
Yeah, this is Carl. So if we look at Walker Court and we look at that little bend there where apparently Walker goes west and then heads north, looks to me as though there are some empty lots that are between houses there. I would assume those are developable lots in there. Would that be correct, staff?
Hello?
Can you comment on that, staff, as far as the spaces that are there along Walker Court between
The
empty lots?
Yeah, the
appear to be?
T-shaped property.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not sure we know whether Habitat owns that or not.
I don't believe they do, Sally.
Yeah. It looks to me like there's a small house or a garage that faces Walker Lane.
Yeah.
And that, I would guess that whoever owns that building owns the rest of all that land.
So, Mr. Teeter, that property, that T-shaped property, you are stating that is not owned by Habitat. Is that correct?
To the best of my knowledge, that's correct. Carl, I would add that, you know, the parks, Lafayette Parks and the city of Lafayette supports our request for what we intend to do to build these Habitat houses on these 2 lots, or eventually 2 lots.
Understood, and appreciate that. And what I'm thinking here is that the concern that was raised by the person who had written in their comments, as I'm looking at this, it looks like there are properties there that could be could have homes built on them by anyone else not being Habitat for Humanity. So thank you for your information on it, Dan and staff, for clarifying.
Jackson, I have a comment.
I have a question too. Right behind that house, that's a parking lot, isn't it, for the complex?
For the recreational complex, yes.
Yes, right behind that. Yeah, I think those may be, they may be interpreted as lots or something, but I thought that was all parking back there.
This is Ryan. I also checked the ownership of that large T-shaped lot. It is not owned by Habitat.
Thank you. Petitioner, in regards to the letter, or to care to comment?
I think I did comment saying that the Parks Department and the city of Lafayette supports our request, you know, giving part of it to the Parks Department and adding 2 more houses to what has already been done to the south, and the PD is just mirrors what we did down there. I think it's a nice addition. We've already done an addition to the north with those 7 lots as well. I don't think it's a major impact on the area. And as has been said, there's a number of large spaces that could be used by other people to divide up and make additional lots in that area. I mean, I think this is a much older part of the city where you at one time maybe had acre lots or 2-acre lots, and that over the years now has gone slowly down. So the gentleman that's complaining or makes the comments surrounded by, I don't know, maybe a half an acre or an acre that could be developed by somebody, and probably in the future will be for 2 or 3 more houses. So I don't think we're offending the area whatsoever.
Thank you, Mr. Teeter. Any other questions from the commission?
Jackson, Gary here, just a brief comment on the letter. I am familiar with that neighborhood, and there is another entrance up on the west side that goes out to, I believe, Wabash Avenue. So that was added when they added utilities to this area maybe 6 or 8 years ago. So you can come in off Elston, and then you can go out to the west out in Wabash. So I think Habitat's done a very nice job in this area by taking some of this land that is served by water and sewer, and now they have a nice sports area nearby. So I think it's a nice improvement by them. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments and clarification. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Zach, it is over to you.
All right, when I call your name, approve or deny. Jackson Bogan,
Approve.
Larry Levin,
Approved.
Roland Winger,
Approve.
Gary Schroeder,
Approve.
Gary Reynolds,
Approved.
Greg Jones,
Approved.
Jake Gray,
Approved.
Diana Looper, absent. Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approved.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approve.
Perry Brown,
Approved.
Tracy Brown,
Approved.
Carl Griffin,
Approve.
Lisa Dullum,
Approved.
Kathy Parker,
Approved.
Al Beavers,
Approve.
16 votes in favor of a favorable recommendation on Z 2791.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A reminder at this point in time, go to your email, click on the link for the ballot of Z 2791 Habitat for Humanity. Please complete, and Don, please let us know when those have been received.
Will do. At this time, I can report that there are 15 responses, all for approval.
Thank you very much, Don. Moving to Z 2792 T-Bird Design Services Corporation. Gary?
I move to hear and approve Z 2792 T-Bird Design Services Corporation, GB to I3.
Second.
Kathy?
Okay, I'm still here. My computer was about dead and I forgot to bring my power cord, so that's why I'm not visible. Also, I'm kind of doing these slides blind because I can't see the slides in front of me, so.
I'll move
anyway.
my computer over temporarily so she can see.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Thank
will.
you. Anyway, petitioner's property is located on the south side of Veterans Memorial Parkway. It's also north of Old County Road 350 South. It is zoned general business. There are 2 5-acre tracts. You can see it's surrounded by industrial zoning, except for the GB at the corner of Sagamore and Veterans Memorial. The same property owner owns the business that's located on the corner, just to the northeast. That's Tents and Events. It's a party tent rental business. Their plans are to use these 2 tracks for additional business storage.
I think we lost the sound. Can you hear? Did we lose the sound?
I can not hear Kathy any longer.
Hello?
There you go.
Yes? Yeah, hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Jackson, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Sally.
We can't hear you.
I can hear Jackson.
What's that?
The computer's updating.
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
Okay.
Apparently the IT department set automatic updates and the computer that's running the sound is in the middle of updates.
Well, let's pause for 10-second identification.
What about those computers? Well, from there, but not from here.
Sally, do you have an idea as to how long it'll take to update?
You know, the purpose of that is for the room, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not shut these down.
Isn't that how the streaming gets heard?
Peter, are you there?
How else would it
Hey,
be up except for
Dan, your cell phone is still on in the other room. It sounds like somebody's vacuuming in there. It's not muted.
You
Your
talking
cell
to,
phone.
Is it
you
rebooted?
talking
Yes,
to me?
Dan, yes, I'm talking to you.
No,
Dan
there's
Teeter.
there's nobody else in our office. My cell
No,
phone.
your cell phone is still on in the other office where you first started.
It's just the sound in here.
I
don't think that's true. I think it's that sound that goes to the,
I got
we
my
will.
microphone turned
Well,
off.
Well, it's, the microphone's out.
I mean, it's doing
Does anyone
something.
have a plug-in for me then?
Can you hear me, Jackson?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Not really. That's what conked out.
I can hear over my laptop because I turned my speaker back on.
Oh, my speaker's on too, but, oh, well, I see what you're saying. Not just the mic, the speaker.
The speaker.
Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
How do I get down to the point where I can
Can't
see
they call
it?
into the meeting?
See what?
See the control for the speaker. My entire screen is covered up.
Hey, you got a power cord?
Yay.
Cool.
Maybe. Oh, I don't know if that's,
Well, let me see.
it's different than, yeah.
Oh, that is an old one.
Screw things up, but no, I don't want to leave the meeting.
Oh, that's the latest thing. Oh. Oh, okay. thought it was something else.
Yeah, thanks,
Okay.
Tom.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Sally?
I can.
May we proceed?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll.
One thing I'd like to check real quick before we start again is if somebody is monitoring YouTube or Facebook, I would like to know whether there is sound on Facebook and YouTube.
I got it on the phone right
Yeah, I'm told this meeting's gone viral.
No.
Clearly.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're fine. But
Thank you.
we need to get rid of all our mics because we're using our computers.
I'm not using my computer, so I need the mic.
She needs her mic, and I.
But you need to get rid of your mic. You need to turn on your. That's because we've got mics up while we're using our computers. So you need to pull that mic out of the socket. Okay, that should give us a little less echo.
Should I? His mic is turned off. I don't know. Can I talk through this?
Try it with the mic.
With this?
Yeah.
Testing, 1, 2. Yes.
All
right.
Yes, we can hear you.
So petitioner's property was part of the huge 1,400-acre industrial rezone by Greater Lafayette Progress that was done in 1997. And then in 2010, the property was rezoned to GB to legitimize a retail garden center. That garden center is no longer in business. So now the property owner would like it to revert back to I3. That is what the amendment to the comprehensive plan also suggests for this property. It'll basically be getting rid of a spot zone, and staff is recommending approval.
Petitioner?
Yes, thank you, Kathy. Again, for the record, Dan Teeter, represent the petitioner. Staff's indicating we want an I3 on this site at this time. The rezone will allow Lafayette Tent and Events to create an outside storage yard and materials associated with their tent business. They own the adjacent property to the east, and they plan on relocating their business from downtown Lafayette and Concord Road to this site for the convenience of it and the logistics going out to the interstate for other business. They purchased the business from Lafayette Tent and Awning. The owner of the buildings downtown is still with the Evershaw family. That hasn't changed. And the staff indicates if we rezone this to I3, we will then be following the adopted land use plan for the area. So with that, I would agree with staff's report, staff's recommendation. We would ask for a favorable recommendation as well. Be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teeter. Any questions from commission members? We will pause for 1 minute. Sally, if you'd let us know for citizen comments.
Should have known this meeting would go long enough that it need the cord.
Time's up.
Thank you. Ryan, any comments?
There are no comments.
With that, we will go. Zach, will you please call the vote?
Approve or deny when I call your name. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Gary Leverance.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approved.
Jake Gray.
Approved.
Diana Looper. Absent. Vicky Pearl.
Approved.
Michelle Long.
Approved.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approved.
Harry Brown.
Approved.
Tracy Brown.
Approved.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approved.
Kathy Parker.
Approved.
Al Beavers.
Approved.
16 votes in favor of a favorable recommendation on 2792.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as a reminder, commission members, it's now the time where we go to our email and complete the ballot for Z2792, T-Bird Design Services Corporation. Don, if you'd let us know when they're compiled. And a reminder to those that are not using their microphones, please put mute.
We have 16 responses, all for approval.
Don said there are 16 written ballots received for approval.
Thank you very much. We'll move on. Mr. Beavers, I believe your microphone is unmuted. If you wouldn't mind, please muting it. Thank you very much. Move to Z2793 Murtaugh Law LLC. Gary?
I move to hear and approve Z 2793 Murtaugh Law LLC, R1 to GB.
Second.
Kathy?
All right, petitioner's property is slightly smaller than half an acre. It's roughly triangular shaped. It's got GB zoning to the east and to the south, and R1 zoning across Old State Road 25 to the west. I believe at one time it was part of Eretz Airport many years ago. There's no sewer on site, but there is an on-site septic system that was constructed in 2008 to serve a storage building that has since been raised. And it says, based on conversations between the health department and the owner, the existing system may be able to be put into use with a future building, depending on that building's size and use. The surrounding land use is motor freight transportation. And the comprehensive plan stipulates that commercial development be connected to sewer systems, and the former airport does not yet meet this qualification. However, staff can find little reason to recommend keeping R1 zoning for this half-acre site that is surrounded by commercial and industrial development, and we are recommending approval.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Petitioner?
Yes, thank you. Reed Murtaugh, representing the petitioner, Eretz LLC. The principals are also the owners of TriTech Construction Services, which is located on an adjacent parcel. As you'll see on the map, there are 4 adjacent parcels that are zone GB. When you look to the east of Old State Road 25 North, there's a large area that's all GB zoning except the small parcel at issue that we are asking to be rezoned from R1 to GB. I can report that the owners are working on a site plan, and they do plan to construct a building that would be storage, and they have been in touch regarding the septic issue and understand that any building would need to be limited probably to 2 or 3 bathrooms. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the commission? With that, we'll take a 1-minute pause for citizens' comments. Sally, if you'd let us know when that's up.
Muted.
I will. Time is up.
Thank you, Sally. Any comments, Ryan?
No comments on this item.
Thank you very much. Zach, if you'd take roll, please.
Approve or deny when I call your name. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Leverins.
Approve.
Ron Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approved.
Jake Gray.
Approved.
Diana Looper. Absent. Vicky Pearl.
Agreed or approved.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Perry Brown.
Approved.
Tracy Brown.
Approved.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
16 votes in favor of a favorable recommendation on Z 2793.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. At this time, it's where we complete the ballot and the email. This is for Murtaugh Law LLC Z 2793. Don, if you'd please let us know when you've received those.
We have 16 responses.
Don reported that there were 16 ballots for approval.
Unmuted.
Thank you, Sally and Don. Gary, Z 2794.
Muted.
Dental.
I move to hear and approve Z 2794 Tecumseh Dental Properties LLC, R1B to NB.
Second.
Kathy?
Unmuted.
Petitioner's property is located on the southwest corner of Teal and South 18th Street, across from the city fire station and the fairgrounds, Tecumseh Middle Schools to the northeast, Lafayette Career Center in the former Lafayette Life building is to the east. All the property is R1B, except for the Lafayette Career Center to the east, which is zoned NB. The existing structure was granted a special exception for a chiropractor's office in 1973. Wow. The site has been in use as a medical professional office since this approval. The dental business was opened in 1984 and currently covers the eastern 2 lots. The 3rd lot in this request on the west side was purchased by petitioner in 2016. Although it has a single-family house, petitioner has been using this lot to the rear and on the west side of the house for paved employee parking. So petitioner would like to expand the existing business. The use could be expanded, but the addition would need to meet the current standards. The proposed expansion based on the site plan is going to need a setback variance from Teal. So staff would normally make an argument that rezoning the site could lead to additional unwanted expansion of the business zone along Teal Road to the west. But because this has been a medical establishment for over 40 years and no commercial creep has happened, staff feels the residences to the west are okay, and this request can be supported. And staff is recommending approval.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Petitioner?
Thank you. Is everyone able to hear me okay?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
All right, this is Sarah Wyatt of Ball Eggleston on behalf of the petitioner. Just to address quickly the setback variance requirement, we do have that petition on file with the city, but due to the current health crisis, the scheduling of that petition won't be until June. This is a rezone from R1B to NB to allow for a modest expansion of the dental office and to improve their parking space. If you'll note from the map on the screen now, they really only have about 10 parking spaces, and if anyone's been in that lot, it's quite cramped for parking. So the expansion is really to improve that parking flow. And we ask for your recommendation of approval that we can take to the City Council, and I'm available for any questions.
Jackson, you're on mute.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thank you, Ms. Wyatt. We will now take questions or comments from the commission. Hearing none, we will go to the 1-minute pause for citizens' comments. Sally, if you'd let me know when that's over.
I will.
Time's up. Have there been any comments, Ryan?
No comments on this item.
Thank you. Zach, if you would, please.
When I call your name, approve or deny. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Lebrons.
Approve.
Ronald Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder,
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds,
Approved.
Greg Jones,
Approved.
Jake Gray,
Approved.
Diana Looper, absent. Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approved.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approved.
Perry Brown, sorry, Perry, I might have missed you. He may have dropped. Tracy Brown,
Approved.
Carl Griffin,
Approve.
Lisa Dellum,
Approve.
Kathy Parker,
Approve.
Al Beavers, approve. All right, 15 votes in favor of a favorable recommendation on Z 2794.
Thank you. Once again, go to your email. This is for Z2794 and complete the digital ballot, please. Don, please let us know when you have received them.
Will do. I fixed it. Uh-oh. Somebody needs to turn off the metronome.
I can report that we have 15 responses and they're all for approval.
Thanks, Don. Good to have you back. On to Z2795.
I move to hear and approve Z 2795, K&K Homes LLC, R1A to R1B with commitment.
Second.
Don, you're on.
Yeah, this is a repeat, sort of what we already heard on this agenda. It's the Bell Terra site, once again. But this is to rezone the property from R1A to R1B. On the surface of it, there's really very little change. Actually, the plans now being approved, the preliminary plat, all the lots are designed size-wise, width and area, in the R1A standards. The request to rezone to R1B is with the commitments as listed in the staff report. There's really no difference except for one thing, and that is to increase the maximum maximum building height, or building coverage. Sorry, scratch the height comment. So what's allowed in the R1A in terms of maximum building coverage is 30%. What's permitted in the R1B is 35%. Will be no change in density. The lot design is fixed. Obviously, the only thing that will change is the possibility of them building slightly larger homes on each lot. So the density is not going to change for this project. That's with the commitment, and that's in voting for this. You will need to vote to permit the. There's a ballot for voting to permit the commitment, and the second ballot is to vote on the rezone with commitment. So with that, staff recommends approval of this proposed rezone.
Thank you for that, and thank you for the clarification on the voting. Petitioner?
Yes, thank you. Again, Dan Teeter, attorneys Riley, Teeter, and Schreier represent the petitioner. Ryan Kennedy and Bob Hockema are available to answer any comments or questions. Staffs indicate we want to go from R1A to R1B. You heard this as a conditional primary approval for the subdivision, which is known as now Bell Terra. Petitioner acquired the franchise for Epcon Homes for this site. This is the same product that was used by Kim Tone Kreidler on Morehouse Road. It was very successful there. We believe the same thing can be achieved here as well. The product is for an empty nester, and with that, they will have a clubhouse and a pool with this subdivision. We found that even with downsizing, and I guess we're talking about people like me, that we still need extra closets, extra rooms. We want a Four Seasons room. As a result, having the commitment allows us then to have all the standards of R1A, but then have the lot coverage increase from 30 to 35% to allow these extra amenities that most of these people would like. That, just to point out again, those for R1A, we are dealing with 60-foot wide lots, 75 square feet, 100 square feet of lot area, 40% minimum vegetation, and setbacks of 6 feet, side yard setbacks. So the only change is to increase the lot coverage, which we think is appropriate. We concur with staff's report, staff's recommendation. We would ask for your favorable recommendation to take this to the Tippecanoe County Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teeter. Do we have any comments or questions from the commission? Hearing none, we'll pause for 1 minute for citizens' comments. Sally, if you'd let me know, please.
I will. Up.
Thank you, Ryan. Any comments?
No comments on this item.
Thank you. Zach, my understanding on this is that we will have two separate votes, first for the commitment and then the second for the actual rezone. Is that correct?
You got it. So first one we will be calling out is to authorize the commitment. When I say your name, approve or deny on the commitment. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Gary Leverance. Approve. Ron Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Gary Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approved.
Jake Gray.
Approved.
Diana Looper. Absent. Vicky Pearl. Vicky, you still there? Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Harry Brown. Harry, I thought I heard you, but
Zach, Vicky just texted me that she got kicked off, so she'll be dialing back in here shortly.
okay.
I'm back on. I approve. Sorry.
Thanks, Vicky. All right. Tracy Brown.
Approved.
Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
Thank you. All right. I think it's 15 votes, which allows the commitment, authorizes that. So we're going to call roll one more time. We're almost done, I promise. This is to authorize or for a recommendation on this rezone with commitment. Jackson Bogan.
Approve.
Larry Leverins.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jeremy Reynolds.
Approve.
Greg Jones.
Approved.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper, absent. Vicky Pearl.
Approve.
Michelle Long.
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh.
Approve.
Harry Brown. Absent. Tracy Brown. Carl Griffin.
Approve.
Lisa Dellum.
Approve.
Kathy Parker.
Approve.
Al Beavers.
Approve.
15 votes in favor of a favorable recommendation on the 2795 with commitment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And remember, commission members, we have 2 ballots in your email that we'll need to complete for Z2795. First one being for the commitment, second one being for the rezone. So if you'd take a minute to do that, and Don, please let us know when those are compiled.
We'll let you know. Well, I can report that for the vote to allow the commitment, we have 11 responses, all for approval. For the rezone with commitment, I can report 14 responses, all for approval.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you.
Thank you. On to administrative matters. Sally?
I have no administrative matters.
Did you hear me?
Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No
Okay.
administrative matters.
No administrative matters.
No administrative matters?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. On to the approval of the June executive agenda. There is no new subdivision request this month. So, no determination of variances. We've already done that. On to the director's report.
Well, I did not prepare
a written director's report.
We'll get you the information about
I will get you the information about building permits and receipts, financial receipts to the office. I think from all the gazillion emails you got from me over the last couple months, I think you know what we've been up to. But I do want to let you know that staff performed wonderfully and got very innovative about how to be able to work from home and how to use OneDrive, and Don worked a long time on how to use SharePoint for everybody. So staff reports still got written, staff reports still got circulated and reviewed, and they did great. But boy, am I glad we're back in the office, because it took 3 times as long to do anything than it ever does in the office. So while we kept government going, it's clearly not the best way to operate local government, working from home. So I think everybody's glad to be back, and we thank the commissioners for providing us with PPE and the sanitizing that we'll need, especially beginning Tuesday when the building opens back up to the public. But it's been quite an experience, and thank you for going along on the ride with us, especially as we experiment with how to do a virtual meeting with petitioners and written ballots and all kinds of stuff. So thank you, and we're glad to be back.
Thank you, Sally. We will now take citizens' comments and grievances. We will pause for 1 minute on this. Sally, if you'd start the timer, and while you're doing that, I would like to take a minute and everybody can take their mics off mute and clap for staff and everybody that put this together. Pretty impressed with the conclusion of this, how everybody did. So,
way to
well
go.
done.
Hey.
Yeah,
Nice job.
very well done.
Well, it only works because you guys are willing to experiment with us. Time is up. Time is up. Time is up.
With that, we've been at it for about 2 hours and 43 minutes. If anybody wants just to talk, we can hang out. Otherwise, Gary, we'll take that motion.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you all. Great job. Greatly appreciate
Thanks,
all the
everyone.
effort.
Nice
Well done.
job, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.